Welcome back to another Old Head Mindset podcast, where wisdom meets experience and real story inspire real growth. I'm your host, Ricky, and today we are continuing with our American Living Abroad series with another powerful conversation. Today's guest is someone I've known for 36 years. In that time, we formed a brotherhood and a lifelong friendship. He was a talented cook in the Navy. He's a family man and someone who's used his faith and values to build a life here in Australia. He's been married to his wife, Patricia, for more than 33 years, raising their two beautiful children, Savannah and Bryce, and living his best life here in Australia for the past 36 years. This podcast is about family, sacrifice, culture, and the mindset it takes to build a meaningful life far away from where you started. So welcome to the show, Terry Bafford.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you.
All right, let's go back to your childhood in Memphis. What was your childhood like?
Wow. Memphis, Tennessee. My childhood was unique in the sense that I was raised by my grandparents. My grandfather was born in 1908. My grandmother born in 1920. And so it was unique in the sense that I had their experience. It was a big household. 5 siblings. I'm the eldest of 5. Myself, brother Tyrone, sister Adrienne, brother James, and my baby brother Cedric, who was in the Marine. I've since lost 2 siblings. Tyrone passed away right before COVID, and my brother James passed away in August of last year. My brother Tyrone was my biggest supporter. We grew up. We was what they call I don't know what they call it, pigeon twins or twins, because we right after each other, like 13 months apart. Right. But when you live down south, you know that your blood family is more than just your immediate siblings. It's your cousins and so on. So yeah, big household, a lot of people coming and going, but it was a family full of love. We have always, I guess, celebrated that first, love and faith in our family. And so, I'm the oldest of 5, and a lot of what I believe today is a result of coming from the large family that I come from in Memphis.
What kind of child were you?
Oh, man. Oh, wow. I think, I guess I can't change it now. I was a good kid. When I think about my childhood, I didn't realize a lot of things, but I think when I tell it to you, you're going to be like, what? I thought, the household I grew up in, I felt like we was rich. We was rich. I didn't even know that in terms of what the outside world, we wasn't rich because we had everything that made me feel comfortable. As I said, I was the eldest of 5. I've interacted with a lot of my cousins because I was living with my grandmother. We had food. We had, laughter. We had dessert. We had a lot of family time together. I guess some of my cousins probably would say that I was a dauber because I did,
Okay.
I was I'm not gonna say I was a favorite, but I was, I was definitely one that, my grandmother relied upon. And so, great childhood. I have the fondest memory for the most part of love, special events being celebrated. Very, very pleased. I felt secured in my childhood days, instilled in me, like I said earlier, a lot of values that helped me become, the person that I am today. Coming from a large extended family with cousins, and extended family are really treated like, all one family. So I can think about Christmas. We had a 7-foot Christmas tree, and as a kid, you're always peeping and having a look the night before, and you're sent the letter into Santa, and you can't wait till Christmas Day come. And so sure enough, as I said, now keep in mind, we got a large Christmas tree, but extended family. And so when you wake up Christmas Day in our household, you come downstairs from, I don't know if I was sleeping the night before, but you're excited. And you come downstairs and you can't walk. There's so many Christmas gifts everywhere. It's just the whole front of the living area is full. And then once, the Christmas gifts start to go through and they start handing them out, because you have a large family, that period of time you're probably often disappointed because Santa didn't leave you as much or as much as you requested. So the excitement, but then yet the disappointment, then yet the excitement comes back because once we got past not receiving all the gifts that you was hoping Santa was going to send, you go back to the real true meaning, which was family, eating, and playing with each other. But that was always something that I kept in mind that Santa for us. You got a few things, but generally that excitement of anticipating for Christmas and then often sometimes you would feel let down because, of course, with a large family you can't get everything. But
now, I mentioned you was helped raised by your grandmother, and I know she would have passed on some supreme knowledge and wisdom and shared her values with you. What would be some of the values you learned from your grandmother?
not just my grandmother, my grandfather as well. As I said, 1908, from a historical perspective, it is at World War One. My grandmother and grandfather got married in 1936, somewhere around there. So he was married almost 60 years. So by the fact that, I was in a situation where I had older people raising me, there was a lot of things that came from that was pretty good, that helped me form some of my values and characters that I live by. But also, I don't want to sit here and say that everything was perfect because there's a drawback when you have older people raising you because they wasn't quite current with the time. But in terms of family value, that's what's always what they've instilled. Working hard because they obviously went through, World War II, Jim Crow segregation area, right before I was born, 1968, when was a very pivotal year in Memphis. There was 2 sanitation workers that was killed, and Martin Luther King came back a couple times in that year, protesting, and eventually he gave his famous mountaintop speech at Mason Temple, and then he died or was assassinated rather. It's a lot of history that is relative to myself and yourself, meaning Black history. More than anything else I can recall, my grandmother, her faith being the driver to shaping me and allowing my faith to grow, and then my grandfather work ethic. So they gave me those 2 things that I think that helped make me, help form who I became today.
My grandmother played a big role in my life as well. Grandparents,
Yeah.
don't want to leave off the granddads. And that's why I gather a lot of great wisdom just sitting and talking with her and learning how her views and philosophy on life. So that was going to bring up my next question. You mentioned your granddad, your grandmother, and your mother now. What role did they play in shaping the man you are today?
Well, when I look at my grandfather, even though from one aspect, it may not have been the ideal situation to be raised in. You would like the ideal situation would be that I was raised by my actual parents, but one thing I did get to see, though, I got to see a strong man that provided for his family, that was the head of his household, and I got to see a strong woman support him in that. And so, in terms of trying to emulate that, they laid a good foundation for me, in terms of what a head of a household should look like and things to aspire for. I mean, of course, I saw everything. I saw a lot of happy times, good times, but I also saw the struggles that a couple go through. So that was good. It was good to see how you interact in the family, you respect each other, and you just you do things together.
Yeah, family is very important. Now, we've spoken on your grandparents, your mother. How she inspired you?
Yeah. Um, my mother, my mother's a incredible lady in the sense that I'm the eldest of 5, and she started early in life, as we would say. But my mother is what I call a testament to how it's not as important how you start off in life. As long as you're breathing and you're living and you have an opportunity to improve and change your situation. So my mother managed to take her circumstance, turn it around, go back and get her degrees, university, and get a job that's very fulfilling. She's respected in her community. She's a minister, and she's a very intelligent, strong woman that a lot of people in the community look up to, and so I'm very proud of her. Um, she is my mentor. Any type of issues or subject that I may need support, I lean on her for it. And so, very proud of the person that she's become. Yeah.
Outstanding, Mom. Yeah, it's good. Yeah. Now, one thing I know for a fact about the fellows, the Americans that's living here in Australia,
Mm-hmm.
we got this weird thing where we live so far away from home, but we're very connected with our
Yes.
family back home.
Mm.
All right. So, how important is the family back home to you?
I would say that most of us in this community, you know, uh, we're very fortunate or blessed is the word I choose to have been able to form a life here abroad. But if there is one sort of, I guess, downfall or thing that I could change is that I wish I could have been able to bring more people from my family along. Now that being said, I know a lot of people back home would have a look and say, well, you're crazy. I'm not coming with you. But I just think that family is probably I guess, maybe some food here and there, but probably my I guess only sort of downside. There's loved ones because I always say, home should be where your heart is. Now they can be in one room, but of course, if you got people that you love and they're overseas and you're living a certain lifestyle and they live in a different one, and you know that that makes it hard at times. But
Yeah.
so yeah, just
Uh,
missing those family, special family, especially as we get older
okay.
and
So you've grown up a little bit
transition.
now, getting, the streets of Memphis can be
Mm,
rough,
mm,
and I
mm.
know you got in a little bit of trouble. But how'd you stay out of major trouble?
Well, it is my belief that a lot of times you don't just arrive at your destination all on your own. Yeah, you may do the work and you may study, but I still believe in the process of that, you have to be lucky. Or in my case, I believe that my grandmother, was a praying grandmother, and so she was praying for my future, and so on. And so, as you said, Memphis is different. If you're not careful, you can easily go down the wrong track. And so, even though I was a good kid and had good values and was brought up in a good household, I did find myself in that situation where, as a teenager, 17 at the time, turning 18, starting to make some of the wrong choices that I probably knew at the time that wasn't correct, but just a lot of peer pressure and so on. And so, it took a lot of faith to get me through that early stage in my life. Even when I was out, exploring things that I should have explored, I always had a battle within to say, hey, that's not right. Even though I may have felt peer pressure to, partake but yeah, it's always been there. It's never just completely went away. I always just had a battle with it.
Mm, mm. Now we're gonna move on into the joining the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
What made you decide to join the Navy and not stay in Memphis and have a crack there?
Let me just back up a little bit and say, uh, there's a singer, Mark Corning, and he's the famous song says "Walking in Memphis." For me, that song really encapsulate what Memphis is. I grew up in a very urban area, but there's a lot of character to Memphis. It's easy to get swept away one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as I said earlier, I was going down a path that I shouldn't have gone down. And as a result of that, I knew I had to do something different. And so that's where I made the decision that I wasn't quite sure of what I wanted to do, but I had to get out.
Mm-hmm.
I had to do something with my life. And so that's what made me decide to explore what the options were. And I had an uncle that joined the military. Actually, my father was in the military and felt that that was an opportunity to, I guess, find out what I really wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because I tell people all the time, you don't have to know, because you reach a certain stage or a certain number in life, you don't have to have your whole career or your whole life figured out. But I just had to do something. I had to get out, and that was my way out to join the military at the time.
I want to go back to, I don't know if you want to talk about it, but I want to go back to, you mentioned your father. First time I ever heard you mention your father.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit about your dad.
I guess to be truthful, I've always known him, my father, just never had a relationship with him. Went through all the emotional side of that, but taught me a lot in a sense, even though I didn't have a relationship with him. I mean, there were some issues or some things that I had to reconcile, not so much with him, but probably with myself, because I am mindful of one thing that is important. I guess without my father, I wouldn't be here,
Yeah.
in terms of the genetic of it.
Mm.
So, yeah, didn't have a relationship with him
Yeah.
growing up. He was around, here and there and so on. But my grandfather and my stepfather actually, great man, Pop passed away a couple of years ago. And
Okay.
yeah, he was a good role model for me.
What are some of your fondest memory or experience from the military?
when I joined the military, I still was on my journey. So I'm gonna be honest, I still wasn't quite where I needed to be. So,
I think I witnessed that.
yeah, well, I still was, I guess, battling some of my demons and so on. But interesting, let me just say about how I got to Australia, because I think for me, that story isn't quite straightforward as to someone else's story may be. So I can recall feeling very homesick coming out of the basic and in school. And I by chance somehow ran across I guess, a command master chief, and he just picked me out. I don't know how randomly, I can't recall it. And he said, you know, son, anywhere in the world, where would you like to go? And I was thinking, oh, send me back home, because I'm not sure. I'm ready to go home. I miss my family.
Yeah.
He said, but think of it like this, a chance of a lifetime. You can go anywhere in the world. Where would you like to go? And I got a little courage, and I got thinking, because I still was thinking, send me back to Tennessee. And a movie popped in my mind, and it was Paul Hogan at the time. It was Land Down Under. And so I said, okay. I thought I'd get brave, because, I'll be honest, growing up, the way we grew up, we didn't think more or less outside of Tennessee or the U.S., more or less in a whole other country. But I said, okay. I recall, it didn't look too bad, didn't look too different. I said, okay, send me to Australia. Now, when I said that at the time, I was thinking Sydney. I didn't have an idea that Sydney was way across, 30 hours away, probably at the time traveling, the Pacific Ocean. I didn't think none of that.
When you first landed in Australia, how'd you feel about that?
For starters, I didn't know the weather was different, opposite season. So that was a culture shock within itself. Perth was definitely a shell of what it is now. Coming from an urban city, it was like a little town. I mean, it was such a long trip, and I was like, I guess they would say, are you there yet? And so anyway, eventually we get on this small plane, and it felt like it took 2 days to get to the base, X Mountain, Lear Mountain. And then you take this one road all the way down, and eventually you're there. And, I was definitely questioning my decision. I was questioning, like, where am I at? I just couldn't, just wouldn't meet my expectations.
It was a culture shock.
It was a culture shock. And but I will say this: I had my tough time, my tough days and moments. Every bit of money I had at the time, it wasn't being spent on a girl. It was on the phone, calling back home. And back then it was quite expensive. Calling back home, calling my grandmother for moral support, spiritual support. Questioning my every move every day. It was tough. It was tough for a while.
But eventually, how did Australia treat you?
Eventually, it's amazing. I tell people all the time, you got to be brave in life. Often, on the opposite side of fear is everything you may be hoping and dreaming of, but you got to hang in there. Eventually, I got to a stage where, obviously I got to form a brotherhood and got to understand life. I got to a stage where I got to see the beauty. I got to see things that my eyes got opened up. As you know, X Mount, there's Coral Bay and surrounding areas. There's the early sunrise, and there's a beauty that, over time you can appreciate, as opposed to looking at, I was looking for commonality. I didn't have the wisdom at the time to realize the greatness of being different. And so eventually, throughout my experience, and there was a lot in X Mount, but I love the fact that I was able to call it God's country after a while. Growing up in Tennessee and a lot of places in the U.S. and probably even Australia, how many places could you go out for at night or and pass out on the beach and wake up and not worrying about someone robbing you or anything happening? So just the beaches, walking on the sand, and those experiences became, experiences I began to appreciate.
For our American audience, back in the 90s when we first came here, the things that would make the evening news was somebody at a gas station getting robbed with a screwdriver.
Yeah.
And they made the evening news. I thought that was crazy, because I know I've been driving through Memphis at 7-Eleven seeing
Don't
seeing
just
guys
say Memphis, Mississippi too.
This was a fact. Memphis. That was
talk about my hometown.
Yeah, with a sawed-off shotgun.
Yeah.
Now that would make the evening news.
Yeah.
But here in Australia, making the evening news back then, it was so peaceful and quiet.
It was.
I thought that just blew my mind.
It was definitely.
It's changed a little bit since then.
Cultural clashes, considering, I can recall once when I was quite young, I was doing retail. And I'd said to this lady, she looked like she needed some assistance. You know, being from Tennessee, you gotta be respectful. And I said, "Sorry, ma'am, can I help you out?" And she turned around with this look on her face. "I beg your pardon. I'm no madam." And I couldn't believe it. I said, "What?" And I realized that, yes, I meant it as a term, and when I said that, I meant it as a term of respect. She took it as an insult. And so those sort of subtle, sort of, a few cultural differences
Yeah.
that kind of surprised me.
Now, something interests me. Now, our time in the Navy, you were known as a talented cook. Where did that passion for cooking come from?
My grandmother, you know, like I know, Southern people, everyone has a role, has a defined. I tell people all the time. I said, Black people are the most conservative people, and I said that from a perspective of a grandfather that was born a long time ago, and my grandmother took care of the inside of the house. The grandfather took care of the outside of the house, and her love language was cooking. And so just watching her, as I said, I'm not saying I was one of the favorite, but I was one of the close ones. And so just being around her and saw the how she would spend Thanksgiving 2 days cooking, and how she would do all of this work and all this preparation, but you would barely see her eat.
Mm.
You would barely see her eat. Her joy, her excitement was taking care of family, and so I got to see that. I guess it must be in the blood because my grandparents, they did have a cafe for a period of time as well.
Okay.
I never really seen much of it, but that's what happens. When you have older people in your life, they tell you tales, and you're like, yeah, oh, yeah, did it really happen because you didn't see it? But my grandfather said he was a good cook as well. So,
Okay, gotcha.
so, soul food is food that is cooked from the soul, and so more importantly, that's probably the key. Cook from love, cook from the soul.
Yeah. One of my favorite memories of cooking is basic stuff. When I was a little kid, I might have been about 7 or 8. I used to spend time with my auntie.
Yeah.
And she used to make the best buttermilk biscuits.
Oh.
So she taught me how to make biscuits, and I would be in the kitchen with her, and she would roll out her dough, and I'd have the dough roll out mine, and she would make her big biscuits, and I would have my little bottle cap, little Coca-Cola bottle cap,
Yeah.
and I had my little teeny tiny biscuits. But I remember that to this day. It's one of the most special times of cooking and learning something that I love doing as well. But
Rick, one of the fondest memories with cooking in early years. When you were the little helper, and a cake was being baked, and you got the pan or the blades to lick off and that sort of thing. Those sort of interactions, or if you was the helper and you was the first one that got to sample something. Those are memories that we don't see often now, but those are fond memories that I can recall in the kitchen. In terms of some of Australia cultural differences with food, I would say I have a very open-minded palate, but out of all the countries, in terms of trying different food, Australia would probably be my actually least favorite in terms of some of the cultural practices and what in terms of, for me, peanut butter and jelly was the go-to if you didn't like the main meal growing up as a kid. If you didn't want what was prepared, we didn't have a million choices, so peanut butter jelly. So Vegemite, I never quite acquired the taste for. Actually, there was one stage it was having Vegemite chocolate bars.
Really? Vegemite chocolate bars?
Sorry?
Vegemite chocolate bars?
Yeah, here. Yeah, that was a while back.
First time I had Vegemite was on base.
Really?
You guys did just serve it to it in the galley.
Well, I can assure you that.
What is this?
I can assure you, I wasn't sampling it. My cousin came out, Sandra, to visit a few years back, and she took a jar of Vegemite home. I guess to me, I would describe Vegemite as what they say. Some things an acquired taste. It's just one I still haven't quite acquired it yet.
So those of you who don't know what Vegemite is, just Google it.
Yes.
And you'll see what it really is. My favorite Vegemite sandwich is Swiss cheese and Vegemite on toast. The cheese.
It still doesn't beat a peanut butter jelly sandwich.
No, it doesn't beat a peanut butter sandwich. Well, it's got to be grape jelly though. That ain't a peanut butter jelly sandwich.
I can't find it anymore.
So
I can't find it.
They
even got different brands now. Even in the U.S., they even got different brands. I used to be, if I last recall, was a brand called Concord, but I can't remember.
Yeah, I got that in the fridge.
Yeah, so.
Yep, Concord. Memphis barbecue, Australian barbecue.
Memphis.
Okay.
There are some great things about where I come from. Music is one thing, but food is definitely on another level. You know, my late brother, they call him Big Memphis. He was, became famous for barbecue, and so he would tell me all about his different ways. And my uncle, that cultural side of
It's a culture vibe, isn't
yeah,
it?
that culture side of it. You know, Bill Street. We're neighbors actually, Rick. You know, Mississippi
Yeah.
and
Yeah, I've
Tennessee,
been to
we're
Bill
neighbors,
Street a
and
couple
so
times.
yeah, it is special. It is special.
Memphis was the closest city, big city, to where I'm from. I'm from a small rural town, Mississippi. So,
what part of Mississippi?
the town called Bruce, Mississippi,
Yeah,
Calhoun County.
that sounds
It's
like Bruce.
yeah, Bruce. Yeah,
Okay.
population at the time might have been 3,000.
Oh wow.
So might have been less.
Our
I
project
think
could have
it's
had 3,000.
yeah, yeah. So our school, for our field trip, we went to the Memphis Zoo.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I
Pink
remember,
Palace. Yeah.
getting
Museum.
the
Yeah.
old, what you call the wax lions and the wax
You ever went to
giraffe.
Liberty? Did you guys know about Liberty Land? It was the amusement park.
Yeah, I knew about Liberty
yeah,
Land.
yeah, right. It was all down in the
Yeah,
same
we
area.
really couldn't afford to get out there. So we were lucky we go on school trip. So yeah, Memphis was about 2 hours drive from where I'm from.
Yeah.
So yeah, we right there in the middle. When I fly home, I used to fly home to Memphis and hire a car. I had to drive 2 hours to get home. Or if I want to change it up, I fly to Jackson, Mississippi, same distance, exact
Yeah.
same distance, 100 miles.
Yeah.
2 hour drive to my little hometown. So yeah, I met a lot of people from Memphis, and all good people. And I love going up there to Beale Street.
Yeah.
Good entertainment, good fun. So anybody want to have a good time, make sure you go to Memphis for on Beale Street, barbecues and all the good food. It's great there.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing about it is that, as I said before, if I had to use one word to describe Memphis, I would, it would be soul. It would be soul. That's kind of encapsulate
Yeah,
for me. Soul and everything.
yeah.
Soul and everything.
My opinion, Memphis, it's a few states in America that's got what you say. It's got that culture of soul.
Yeah.
I want to say a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Memphis, New Orleans, maybe Texas a little bit, but definitely Memphis. It brings something different.
Yeah.
I know to America, especially with Elvis is there as well.
Yes,
So a lot
yeah.
of people from Australia love Elvis.
It's amazing how I can recall as a kid in 1977. I don't want to date myself, but I can remember when Elvis had passed away. I was in grade school or something, and it came across the intercom. I mean, I was watching Elvis, but I didn't know he was that big. And like 20-some years later, when I first was around my wife and her family, everyone knew Elvis. Everyone knew Elvis. Elvis must have been the most popular man on the planet at the time. I guess probably more so than Michael Jackson at the time. But everyone knew Elvis.
I want to go back to how you built your life and career here in Perth. How have you been able to pull that off?
One thing I've always had in mind, I never, like I said, that for a period of time, I didn't really know what career or anything of that nature, what I wanted to do. But I did know this year. I do know that something was in my head, and it's been told many different ways. I know that President Adams says that, even Martin Luther King had his own version, that says that a good life is having the opportunity to work hard. You don't have to be the smartest in the room. To work hard, to be honest, to be a good person, get a partner, have a family, a home, a garage, 2 cars, and a little bit of money in the bank. That's what I was able to achieve here. But ideally, and ironically, that is what I was told was the American dream. And so starting life here, I've always managed to have a job. Most of my jobs lean into my, I guess, what I would consider to be my gifts, which is people. So I've always been in some form of sales, starting off clothing sales, especially early in my marriage, and then telecom sales for about 20 years with Vodafone. And mining, I've got into mining at probably about 15 years ago. But every job I've had have always allowed me the ability to, I guess, provide for my family and contribute towards what I call the American Australian dream.
Now, you and Pat have been married for 33 years now.
Yeah.
What has marriage taught you?
Um, 33 years. I got married quite young, as you can tell. I'm not that old now. Seriously, marriage has taught me a lot of things, and one of the most important thing is communication. Continue to. You can never do a final chapter in a marriage. It's a relationship, and you have to continue to work at it. And so, love changes. It is what it is, but it does changes as well. It taught me the importance in working together, being aligned, being on the same page. It's interesting when you tell your kids about, they say, well, how do you and mom meet? I think the story goes something like this. I seen her and she was the most beautiful woman in the world, and I had to approach her. She rejected me about 3 or 4 times, and eventually she said, yes. That's not quite it, but that's the way I like to tell it now. We actually met out at a nightclub, like a lot of young people did at that time. We met at a famous nightclub at the time, Mangoes, where a lot of us at that time hung out. It was culturally, it was the closest thing from where most American would have came from, music wise. And Australia was starting to, even though we didn't have the social media back then, Australia, even back then, had a lot of diversity. And so, yeah, I guess R&B and hip hop music was becoming very popular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, your wonderful wife. What do
Yes.
you love most about her?
What do I love most about? She has a nickname. My brother, when I call her my brother, Lee Rose gave her. He called her Mixed Cake, and I guess her name is Patricia, so Patty Cake. But what I love about her is that cake is like one of my favorite things, and she's always thinking about our family first. And to me, that's what I do view as most important when you do enter a union. She she's always considering others above herself. She's always employing me to be my best version of myself. Couldn't ask for a better mother to our kids. Couldn't ask for a better helpmate in terms of trying to achieve some of the goals we wanted to achieve in life.
Awesome. Now we'll talk about the kids now. So Savannah, Bryce.
Yeah, blessed to be able to have two wonderful human beings in my life. They're grown adults now. Savannah's an amazing, strong, intelligent black woman, and I like saying that in Australia
You do?
because where I come from, I was influenced heavily about a lot of black women in my
Yeah.
life, as most black males are in the U.S. Women have a strong role, but yeah, she's an incredible woman. She's actually a production manager for the church that we attend, and so she travels throughout the world and
Awesome.
very creative. And I just look forward to seeing what's ahead for her in her future. My son is an amazing young man. He has so much inside of him that I pray one day that he gets to show the world. He's an avid soccer player,
You're talented too, isn't
talented.
he? Yeah.
Yeah, he's actually studying at the moment
Mm.
to get his associate in what is that? Sports science. I mean, fitness is his life, and so
Mm-hmm.
very proud of him. Nowadays, growing up in this world as a male is a lot more complicated than when we grew up, and so.
Okay.
But he's doing a good job, and so I'm very proud of him.
So how do you find faith here in Australia?
Initially, when probably 30 years ago, it was very much different. There's a uniqueness coming from Memphis, urban, black. There still is a uniqueness, but it's not as different as it once was. The church I go to now, it is like a church family, very diverse. Within our church, actually, our church is a representation of what Australia is. Very multicultural. We got people from the continent of Africa, Asia, New Zealand, and we all are under one roof, worshiping and praising. And so, yeah, I think that's one of the good things is that we do have that diversity.
When it comes to the culture, the country,
Yeah.
or the people, what stands out for you the most with regards to Australia?
For me, probably a combination. Travel to every state within Australia, but as a result of just assimilating to the lifestyle, Australia has impacted me in a way that I do travel quite a bit. I've been throughout Asia, the Singapore, China, KL, Hong Kong, Cambodia. I just recently come back from Singapore. This is the food. That's another thing that Australia has. The many diverse infusion of different cultures, from your Thai food. Obviously, my wife is Burmese, from the Burmese food, even Middle Eastern food. Yeah, that's one of the good thing about living in Australia. We're very diverse, and I have a good appetite, and so being able to explore things I've eaten now that I never would have dreamed of growing up, because that's all I ate was chicken, but maybe, well, more than chicken, but Southern food. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So this podcast is about wisdom and growth.
Mm-hmm.
What's one of the life lessons you can share with the audience?
Couple things. My Angelou would say there's more we have in common and more we don't. Meaning as people, as the human race. I believe that, as especially living in Australia, and we've been blessed to intertwine with so many different cultures and backgrounds to form this country. Life is a gift, is what I would share.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, how you share that gift, live your life, and impact others is something that I believe that we all should not take for granted. No one lives to be 1,000. And so to me, to have perspective in your life and realize that your life is, as I said, a gift, and how you share that gift with other people should mean something. And I think that's something that I try to, at this stage in life, try to be cognizant of each and every day, to try to be the best version of myself.
Okay. What's next for you? That's my final question.
Well, there's a few things. I've been blessed to, as I said, have some things in life, achieve some things in life. I would like to give back, and one of the unique things that, as I said, growing up as a kid, I didn't even dream of forming a life abroad. And now that that I have, and the world has changed, I would like to give someone else that opportunity. I'd like to form some sort of exchange program where I can give back, as I said, give back, and maybe come up with some sort of program where, whether it be they say charity can always start at home, but I'm not sure if that's what I would have in mind. But I would love to definitely have some sort of exchange program where I give some less fortunate kid an opportunity to come Australia for a summer, or for a week or so, and see what's on the other side of the world.
Man, I hope you can pull that off. That'll be awesome. Terry's story is a reminder that success in life isn't about money or status. It's about faith and family, consistency, and staying true to your values. From Memphis to Perth, from Navy life to building a family and a lasting marriage, this is what American Living Abroad series is all about. Real stories, real lessons, and real people. Appreciate everybody tuning in to the Old Head Mindset podcast. If this episode gave you value, inspired you, or remind you about the importance of family and faith, make sure you subscribe. Leave a comment and share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. And if you're rocking with the Old Head Mindset movement, make sure you check out our merch and support the brand, because this is bigger than a podcast. This is wisdom, growth, and legacy. I'm Ricky. We'll catch you on the next episode. Thank you, my brother.